So a little bit darker image on Facebook, but on Instagram it seems to be the same. So we were doing the pulse and some questions that came on which side of the hand the pulse is. So just to remind you, it's on the side of the thumb. So not on the side of the pinky, it's on the side of the thumb. And we go down to the edge, we pick up the bone that is there, and we put the 3 fingers, as we selected those 3 fingers, below the notch there, and then we press a little bit, and then if there is no pulse, we keep pressing until we get to the pulse. And once we feel the pulse on whatever finger, we're gonna feel the quality of the pulse. What quality it is. It is sharp, it is soft, it is rounded, it is dry, it is hard, it is flowing in which way? Is it jumping like a frog? Is it moving like a swan on a gradual way? Is it like a snake sliding through? Is it sticky? And this tells us how much vata, pitta or kapha we are feeling under that finger. So although the fingers themselves each represents a different value, so there is the pitta finger, which is the middle one, there is the vata finger, which is the index, and that is the kapha finger, which is the third one. So vata, pitta, kapha are the 3 values, and we put them on the right notch here, below that notch, and then we feel the pulse. So let's sit easily, comfortably, close the eyes, and feel the pulse on whatever finger it comes. So we press until we feel the pulse, and now we have our attention on the quality of the pulse. You might not remember which one is vata, which one is pitta, which one is kapha. But generally, you know, the vata is the moving one, the changing one, the light one. Pitta is the one that jumps like a frog. It jumps, it hits on the finger, it's solid. And the kapha is the heavier one, the rounded one, the silky one a little bit, like a swan. So we feel the pulse. Very good. We're getting a feeling for the quality. So our mind is going towards the quality of the pulse under whatever finger it comes. Now you will know and notice that if you have vata under vata, then it's fine. This is where it should be. If you have pitta under pitta, then it's great also. This is where it should be. And if you have kapha under the kapha finger, then it's fine. This is where it should be. However, if you have some pitta under the vata, that means there is something to analyze, which is of course possible, and there is, you know, different positions of the quality of the pulse under different fingers. This is how we're going to gradually start to get different variables. So we have the quality of the pulse, which is its roundness, its heaviness, its softness, etc., as we say. And we have the position of the pulse, on which finger it is. Now what we're going to do today is just add one aspect, and all of this is part of, you know, feeling, just refining the feeling of touch. What the aspect we will add is the pressure, how much pressure we put. So what we do is we press the 3 fingers together until we feel a pulse. As soon as we feel some pulse, we try to remove the pressure a little bit. We try to remove the pressure until the pulse goes away. And then we push again a little bit until the pulse starts coming. So what we're trying to measure here is the surface value. There is a surface level of the pulse. So the surface level of the pulse is the moment you start feeling something under your finger. If you press too hard, you're going far. If you press too little, you will not feel anything. So between that feeling nothing and just feeling barely something, this is what we call the surface value of the pulse. So let's see if you can have this experience of the surface value of the pulse, which means you will be moving your fingers in and out towards the arm, which means pressing a little deeper, and pressing a little lighter, which means removing the finger away from the arm until the pulse disappears. And then you find the in-between where it's barely the pulse starting to feel something very, very fine, very delicate. So let's do that. Therefore, we close the eyes, we sit comfortably, we have our shoulders relaxed, we are easy, and our hands are soft. Our hand is hanging from the shoulders. There is no tension on the hand. We open the palms normally, and the hand that is feeling the pulse, which are the 3 fingers, is also very soft, and it just starts pressing on the pulse, on the artery, until some feeling comes of some pulse. We release a little. If it goes away, we press back. Don't worry if it's on the 3 fingers, just any finger for now. We are just getting to experience the surface value of the pulse. Very good. So you'll be doing this also at home. Continue to practice the pulse at home this way, feeling the surface value of the pulse. We're adding one more aspect, and that is what we will call the deep aspect of the pulse. They have meanings, and the meanings are what is happening on the surface value of our experience, of our functioning during the moment when we take the pulse, is what we feel on the surface value, the very surface level of the general predominance of what is happening in the pulse. We're going to add another level, which is the opposite of what we just have done. And in this one, we're going to press all the way until the pulse starts and disappears. So if you press too hard, you will feel that the pulse will go away because you are blocking actually the artery, and therefore there will be no pulsation. That is the deep pulse. Now, where is the deep pulse? If you go and block everything and then start releasing a little bit. So you go deep, 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 deep. There is no more pulse. Now you raise your fingers a little bit, and you find that the pulse starts coming. So if it starts coming, then that is the deep pulse. The deep pulse will tell us about our nature, which means are we predominantly Vata, predominantly Pitta, or predominantly Kapha, or maybe any combination of those. You might be Vata, Pitta, Pitta, Kapha, like this. Any combination of those is possible. So you're gonna just go for the nature, one's own prakriti, we call it, the basic prakriti of the pulse, is an indication. There are other things that help to detect the indication of the pulse, and these are one of them, one very important part of it. And in any case, whether you know what these are or not, doesn't matter. The developing of the ability to go deep and then out, to go surface and out and then surface again, is refining our senses, refining our sense of touch. And that's very helpful for the development of the ability to detect the pulse and to appreciate it, and will grow with time. It will develop with time. So I can see that some are already saying what they are. This is wonderful, and I see many are joining, so welcome. Today's session started a little late because of a glitch in the software and the internet, but thank you for your patience and for those who stayed with us and joined. And what we're adding today again is two values, the surface pulse and the deep pulse. So surface pulse, we put our fingers on the hand, we press until we start feeling something, and then we release a little bit, the pulse goes away, we press back very gently. That is the surface pulse. The deep pulse is you press completely until you block. That means you don't feel anymore a pulse, it goes away, and now you release a little, and as you release, you feel the pulse is coming back. And that will tell us about the different aspects of our deep nature, and on the surface, what's happening on the surface level. So that's very good. You do this at home, and tomorrow we'll have a more complete session. We will also talk about your nature, one's own nature, and how to recognize it based not only on the pulse, but on certain characteristics that we will discuss, which means, how you are in terms of your temperament, how is your body built, how much friends you make, how quickly you make friends, and how easily you can, change friends if you make many friends or little, how fast you learn, if you learn very fast, or you remember things quickly, but maybe you forget them also quickly, or you take time to learn things and appreciate them, but once you know them, you really know them well. Like that, if your intellect is sharp and always analyzing, and you always want to know what's going on, these are different characteristics that define our qualities in terms of the Ayurvedic principles of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. We will review these tomorrow. That will give us an idea of how we connect this with the pulse and what the pulse is telling us. And also we will see that there are different times of the day, different times of the seasons, different activities that will promote either Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, and how these can influence the pulse. So that is it for today. We had a small session, again, because of this computer glitch, but thank you all for joining. I see everyone is there from many places around the world. We will now just really close the eyes and do our meditation for those who practice transcendental meditation, and others will do the pranayama, the simple technique that help also mind and body to be coordinated and to settle down. So let's close our eyes and take about half a minute and then start our meditation.